So, spoilers ahead. We're going to get into a little bit of the filming news as well as part of this leaked script. Now, I have not read the leaked script.
Good.
I have not read it. I try to stay away from it every year. There's always a Reddit post somewhere, and people start sending me that. But this year, I got a lot of messages, and I started reading stuff without any warnings, and so I read a pretty big supposed spoiler we're going to get into. So, spoiler warning, if you don't want to know anything about Season 7, we're just going to speculate a little bit, but at the same time, go ahead and click away. Go check out another video, Dragon Part 3 or 2 or 1. I did talk about the scene in King's Landing with Gendry already in a video, so that's there. And I kind of speculated on what I think's happening there in that scene. They're in King's Landing, and
on the beach. That scene
on the beach.
Yeah.
So I think at that point, Dany has not taken King's Landing because the Gold Cloaks recognized Tyrion, and that was my biggest question: is what the hell's Tyrion doing in King's Landing when he knows he's a wanted man before Dany takes it over?
Right.
So it looks like to me that Gendry is being rescued from King's Landing, or essentially pulled out. Not that he's being rescued; he's not in any real danger, but they need to reestablish House Baratheon. And he's been working as a smith, I think, back in King's Landing.
Right.
He's got his warhammer. Apparently it was confirmed there is a stag sigil on that warhammer, so he knows who his father is. Melisandre told him that.
Sweet.
So I think that he's accepted who he is, and that was Davos is probably suggesting to Jon, hey, House Baratheon, we can get the Stormlands back in the cause because his son, he lives down here in King's Landing. I'm the one that rescued him from being burned alive. So I think that was what's going on in that scene. But the latest one that I haven't talked about, the latest pictures was Jorah. So we see Jorah in some scenes with Dany and Jon and everybody on the beach at Dragonstone.
Okay.
So the question is, what the hell is Jorah doing there? Is he cured? You know, has he already got a cure perhaps at the Citadel, or from Quaithe like we talked about, or from a Red Priest or Priestess from some, you know, Melisandre's been seen there. Or somebody that looks just like Melisandre close to it. You couldn't really see that picture very clear. Perhaps Melisandre cured him, and we talked about that in Part 3 with Dragon Raised by Wolves. You know, I didn't see him just being cured. You know what I mean? It didn't make a lot of sense. If that's he may not be. We don't know. I mean, he may just, but he's in all new garb. You know, all this new black stuff they're wearing. Dany's got new clothes. Tyrion. They're all in black and looking cool and regal.
Hell yeah.
Jon's even looking all regal. He's got actual plate on this time with 2 direwolves' heads right here. It's interesting that, you know, Jorah is back in the fold this soon. And I'm sure these are later episodes, I would assume. I don't think this is all going to be in like episode 1 and 2. I think this will probably be 5, 6, 7 maybe. Something like that. I don't know. But that just begs the question, if he's back with Dany, did he go find a cure already? Would he go back to her without being cured? I mean, she essentially ordered him to be cured, right?
Yeah, I can't imagine him doing that.
So unless he just figures, you know what, there's no cure, I have to go help her and be by her side until I die or until I go crazy enough to kill myself. So that's hard to say. So it's very, very interesting that Jorah was in that scene at Dragonstone. With Jon and Theon and the Greyjoys are there. Obviously, that's another picture that I hadn't talked about, was Theon coming up with the Greyjoys on the beach at Dragonstone. So Dany's calling all these people in. Yeah. And I think she's probably got to Dragonstone and probably sent out, almost like Stannis did, from Dragonstone. He sent out ravens to everybody and said, here, I'm here.
Yeah.
Here's your options.
Yes.
Come to me and bend the knee.
Just like Stannis.
Or I'll burn your shit down.
Now, you know, based on what we've talked about this lead stuff, it's kind of starting to change what I was going to say in Part 4 of Dragon Raised by Wolves. So I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board a little bit and recraft what I think is going to happen. Have these leaks and spoilers changed any of what you are going to bring to the table in a Dragon Raised by Wolves Part 4?
Only in the sense of, well, I'll tell you what, before I answer that, let's talk about this big one. Okay, so apparently, this is what I was sent. So, and again, I don't know if this is real. We don't have any clue. I have not read the actual post or anything. The only thing I read was these little things sent to me that I had no warning.
Yeah.
So apparently the big spoiler is that there's a big mission up north to capture a white to prove to Dany what the hell is going on. So if this is true as far as this supposed script leak. So apparently Jon takes Davos and Gendry and Jorah and I believe Beric Dondarrion and the Hound,
Oh, sweet.
and all these great fucking people we love
Damn.
and we have not seen together up north to catch a white. Alive, apparently. To prove to Danny or something that this is a real threat.
Yeah.
Because she's, I think, like I said before, I think she's probably at this point already sent out Raven and said, come kneel.
Yeah.
I'm your queen now, or I'm going to come burn your shit down. And then John says, okay, we need to go talk to her and tell her what's going on.
Yeah, they get the Raven. He goes, meets with her. Instead of kneeling, he's like, hold on a second.
Yeah. Here's what's, we need, you got a bigger problem. And I believe it said they go to Eastwatch by the Sea, which is the easternmost castle on the wall. And then they run into Whites and the Night King, apparently. Everybody gets away because Danny shows up with her dragons. So she decided, you know what? I'm going to go up there for myself or whatever. She decides he's probably not. They went on this mission with people I love and care about. Obviously, he's telling the truth, so I'm going to go find him. I believe him.
Awesome.
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I can see that.
I'm just guessing why she would show up out of the blue. But apparently, she shows up and basically saves everybody. Except for John gets left behind in this circle where they're surrounded or something like that. And then he's about to go down or something, and then Benjen rides up and saves John. But during this battle, apparently Viserion, one of the dragons, gets killed by the Night King. And so he raises Viserion as a undead dragon and then mounts him as in, World of Warcraft type shit. So you got basically an ice dragon if he's back to life, and he does. I'm not sure how this works magically or whatever.
Right.
But apparently he can breathe blue flame, or I don't know if it's ice breath or what. I have no idea.
Wow.
So that's the big apparent spoiler that I heard about through several different sources: email, messages on Facebook and Twitter, and all that. And I have not read the Reddit post apparently where this comes from, and I won't read any of it at all. I never do. Because I like to speculate on just what I see and just what I know versus just cheating and reading what's going to happen, if that's even real.
So we have a Sub-Zero dragon, maybe.
So we could have an ice dragon in the sense of a raised dragon. And a lot of people had actually speculated this before. It's not like it's new.
A lot of people wanting to have one.
So that's why it's still kind of a question for me whether it's fan fiction. Because it could be just well-written fan fiction.
Could be.
Because ice dragons have been talked about for years and years. And we've talked about it before. I've said many times I don't think we'll get an ice dragon only because George R.R. Martin had to be talked into the fire dragons, right? So I just didn't think it made any sense for balance,
Yeah.
But I could see one of them dying and then being resurrected, if that's even possible. We just don't know how that works with magic and dragon fire.
Speculated one getting warped.
Right.
So
a lot
now
of
we're
people
going to be speculating one turned into a white.
Right, exactly. So what I was saying though, as far as your question goes, is it's only made me start to question John's endgame in the sense that they're trying to kill him, obviously, if this is true. They're trying to kill him just like they did at Hardhome instead of trying to capture him and take him somewhere for whatever they need him for, if they need him at all. So it makes me question the overall endgame, like we were talking about in part 3, was they're either coming for an opportunity or for revenge, and just to take over everything and kill everybody. And if they're just trying to kill John anywhere at any time,
then it's looking more like revenge.
It's looking more like kind of a revenge thing, or just coming through and saying, "Fuck humanity, we're going to wipe you all out." So that's what's got me thinking about the end game. Because if the end game is that his blood is important, like we speculate it to be because of his heritage,
it has to be.
I think it still has to be either way. Then you would think they need him alive to take him and do some ritual or something, even if they want their humanity back, for example, or whatever they're wanting from him. If that's why they're reacting, if they're reacting to his birth and him being alive. And somebody asked me before, actually, in a comment, well, if they want their humanity back, why did they try to kill him at Hardhome? Well, maybe at that point they didn't know who he was. Maybe he saw him and looked down and realized he had a Valyrian steel sword. He noticed his, White Walker buddy got killed by this guy, and then he looked down, and then they had the stare off after that. Maybe at that point he had that connection with him and realized, I'm kin to this motherfucker. This is the guy we've been talking about because we see prophecy too, because we see through the eyes of Bloodraven or Bran or all the green sight. I have that power too because I was a Stark. So
you know how
that's
you
the
see
way.
on these videos, like you've read so many things and seen so many things that sometimes your original ideas become blurs.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm having a moment like that.
Yeah,
okay?
absolutely.
So I'm not going to say that I didn't read this in one of you guys' comments, but while he was talking, this came to me. Remember in part 3 when I said something about, do you think Bran's injury heightened his powers or his other senses or whatever? Did John's death and resurrection heighten anything in him? Have we seen any changes in him whatsoever?
It's implied with Beric Dondarrion that things change. When you come back, you're a little bit less of yourself.
Oh, hell.
And I think we saw John change in the sense that he left the Night's Watch after he hung Ollie and those guys, and he would have never done that before because he swore a vow, and he's so honorable, just like his uncle, Ned. So I think things changed in the sense that he knows there's nothing after this whole life thing, so I better make the most of it. Does that make sense? So he literally knows nothing now. That whole thing that Ygritte used to say, you know nothing, Jon Snow. Yeah, he does. And not only 2 people that know that is Beric and Jon Snow.
What you were just describing, that quest up north, is that not a hell of a crew to be with, though? If you were going to be going up there to capture a wife?
Yeah, if you got the Hound and Beric Dondarrion and, Jorah and damn Tormund.
I know.
And Jon Snow and Gendry now, who apparently knows how to work a warhammer.
Yeah. I mean, that's a hell of a crew, a wrecking crew right there.
That's going to be, if that's true, it will be cool to see them all together. And we have seen most of them. We have not seen the Hound there.
Right.
And Beric and the Brotherhood Without Banners, but perhaps on the way, they can, pick them up along the way or whatever. So, like I said, I don't know if it's real. Some of it sounds plausible. I can see that happening, but then again, I'm still weary about it. So, anyway, that's my thoughts on it, and it hasn't really changed what I think's going to happen with John. Only how that may happen, if that makes any sense, without giving too much away. Anyway, guys, we'll leave it there for now. As usual, thank you for all the support. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. Thanks for watching.